Buongiorno, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube. Welcome to the dark dimension of Despondos. Ready to bring some philosophy to you, some information to think about. Yeah, well, I did take a note from some other viewers not to smoke while doing the videos, and I already kind of knew about that. Um, it is annoying, I know. I just thought, for some reason, in my mind, that it was something that could do while doing the videos, and but anyway, I just thought, but I took it's like I knew it's like, well, okay, it usually takes other people to tell me things before I actually start to change things. Well, let's see. I've been having some discussions with a friend of mine, and he's been having this class that he's been taking, which they're learning about God in a way, to show how God is the truth, to kind of sweep away all those gray areas. Well, if God is the truth, well, we certainly don't have enough information about God to go on to make that establishment. There's no way to know the entire truth about anything um, that big. If God does in fact exist, we don't have any way of really beholding him as he is. I mean, if he does exist and he's up there in heaven in the clouds, and well, the fact that the conundrum exists, the fact that we have a problem where we have to even analyze this, already tells me that there's a lack of information for us to even draw a conclusion. Um, if God exists and we can't find him, if we can't substantiate his existence, or even if we did substantiate his existence, we'd have to hear from his mouth exactly what things are going. Otherwise, we wouldn't have the book. We wouldn't have the Bible. We wouldn't have the Quran. We wouldn't have a lot of things that we would use. He would just speak to us like a politician would speak to us. That's the way that it would need to be. Um, but my main thing though, and as I've kind of developed over the last couple of years with my uh, think system, I don't call it a belief system because I don't deal in belief. Um, belief is just belief is used in a way by most people to take circumstantial evidence and thus draw a conclusion, and then they say, well, this is true because I believe it. That's not what a belief is. That's not what truth is. Truth is never a belief, and belief is never truth. Um, well, no, I guess that's not really correct. Um, belief is often not a truth, and truth is never a belief. Yeah, there we go. Something like that. Because you can believe something, you could be right, you could be wrong. But if you have the truth, there's no longer a need to believe because you already have all the facts. You know, the uh, the problem, the main problem that I have found in the way that at least with the way that religion has been, especially the Christian religion that I've experienced firsthand, is that we don't even objectify even the things we do know. there's so much belief in the mix amongst what we think is truth that these beliefs often be people exercise them um, like they're truth, but then they're not. One example is just, beholding things that we like, such as music, cinema, any kind of media, especially like worldly media, um, secular media or whatever. Um, and there's been a lot of this through the ages, but my whole aim is to kind of get to the point where, even if you're a person of faith, to at least educate yourself, at least educate and find out the truth behind what what you think on the surface is evil. One example is, say, when I grew up, we had the uh, problem, during the 80s with so many people, knocking down Dungeons and Dragons and knocking down um, He-Man and G.I. Joe, Transformers, and stuff like that. But if you read the Bible, those same elements are in the Bible too. I mean, actually, if you watch it, you watch He-Man of the old and even the newer ones, I guess, but things are very clearly defined. I mean, the evil deeds are being done by the evil person. They're not being done by the um, by the people who are represented as good. Um, Even Jesus himself was accused of having a demon because of the miracles he performed. But see, people take for granted that that's what they know. They know that the miracles Jesus did were from God's power, as it's cited. And one of the things that my friend said was that, well, uh, he said, yeah, but they're doing it. And it's like, well, yeah, they're the bad guys, and the good guys are doing what they're doing, but we know that their actions are good. And just the way that Jesus does things, if you didn't know what the Bible was about, and you read the Bible for the first time, you could interpret what Jesus was doing as evil the way that, say, a good wizard in He-Man was doing something. It would be seen as the same way. They take for granted that they know that already. Well, why can't we get to the point where we know what good is, and what they do that you learn is their actions are coming from the force of good. Um, and his concern was, well, what about kids seeing that stuff? It's like, well, just educate them. Educate how they know what these things are. I mean, it's just that easy. Because I said, well, they're doing these things in the Bible. He goes, oh, but that's the Bible. Well, yeah, it is the Bible. But how did you get to that point where you can just say that? Because you take for granted that that's what you know. Why can't we get to that point with everything? Why do we have to be so superficial and demonize things that we don't have to worry about? We shouldn't even be wasting our time with stuff like this. People are not going out and doing things bad because they've watched He-Man. They're doing things because of other more basic reasons. People go and they steal because they have other issues. They go out and they hurt people because they have other issues. Those elements are not being taught because of He-Man or Dungeons and Dragons or anything. I mean, they're just they're just Bible stories with a different name. And it's the same thing with Jesus himself. I talk about how I'm a person. Uh, I get angry. But Jesus got angry. You know, all those things are there. But if I get angry, then also people think I'm not being a Christian. Well, then you don't know your Bible very well. You don't know Jesus very well. People have this impression of Jesus that's not real. They're trying to be better than Jesus. And it's stupid. And see, to people who, and my friend, he's never had really much of anything in his life that has allowed him to be challenged this stuff. He has no reason to be passionate because all he's ever gotten out of it is something good, and I'm happy for him. I want people to continue to do that, but I don't want them to do something that's going to hurt other people, like it hurt me, and they're a part of that. And he's even said to himself that he's there. Like when I was a kid, with the issue of music and things of that nature, that he says he has no conviction of. It's like, well, how's that even possible? You swear to be a Christian, and there's even people you've talked about that do what I was taught to do. If that song has a lyric in there that is not correlating to what your belief system, and it's damning with your belief system, that you get rid of it. It's like, well, how is it that you don't have the same conviction? Are you even the same type of Christian? And I don't think he is. I think, he doesn't realize it, but he thinks he's the same, but he's not. And that's what's really funny about that, is he sees himself as the same as those other guys, yet he really, really isn't. That's what kind of boggles my mind. What facet does he have that's different? But anyway, something to think about. As always, comments are always appreciated. Insight's always appreciated. And that way I can make new videos with new subjects. Talk to you later.